Um, yeah, cool. So, hey guys, this is a student interview with one of my students, Tom. Tom comes from a door-to-door background and joined Club Closer like 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago,
End of May.
end of May. There you go. And yeah, he's come a long way since he's joined, and wanted to get him on and just pick his brains on how he's getting on. But Tom, I think you do a better job of introducing yourself than I will.
Yeah, 100%. So, 21 from Manchester, been in the space for like 4 or 5 months. Did Came from a door-to-door background, did it for about a year. Absolutely soul destroying, bit fun, but look, I realised there's better vehicles, so called it a day, and here we are.
Sweet, bro. What was like, I guess, your kind of day job with the door to door? Like, how did that look like? What were you earning there? And yeah, how
Yeah,
did you kind
so
of find it?
it was funny. I'm not gonna lie, it was a funny background. Learned a lot. So did that for about a year. Started out just as a sales rep, 40 quid a sale, uh, usually around 2 to 3 sales a day, sometimes none. That's if I'm having a bad day. And got to a point where I started to run my own team, teach people how to sell, teach people how to run their own teams, and then just keep on growing the teams if that makes sense. But yeah, not the most lucrative in terms of earnings. I think the most I made in a week was like £900, which back then was a lot to me. But yeah,
You've done like you've done a £900 day now, haven't you?
yeah, 1300, yeah.
1300. Yeah, I mean, like from my perspective, like obviously that sounds like a pretty decent job, right? Like you're obviously you're not earning as much as you want to, but you're getting the experience in. Like, what was obviously, I guess, like the thought process into like becoming a closer? Like, how did you find out about it? Kind of what got you into it?
Yeah, 100%. And look, I just want to put it out there that some people are fine with certain jobs. Some people are fine with, 9 to 5s, doing certain earnings, and look, that's fine. But I guess if it comes down to awareness, if you know something's out there. I've always known this space has been around from social media, other friends. I just thought, okay, how can I get into it? Can I actually get into it? And I just thought I'd take that jump. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you've got a bunch of friends that are in the online space already. That's kind of how Tom joined us. It was a referral off one of my friends. Had you heard of high ticket closing before? Had you looked into it? Did you know anything about it?
Yeah. So knew about it for about 6 months before I jumped in. It's just one of them where you're on the fence. You're like, oh, should I jump in? Should I not? But yeah, I just decided to pull the trigger. Look, I'm not gonna get anywhere just staying in the situation I'm doing. Do you know what I mean?
What like obviously like 6 months. Like, what was the deciding factor there to actually like make the change? Because I feel like a lot of people are in that situation where they're like, I know there's more out there. I know I could be doing more, and I don't love what I'm doing now. But it's that initial step that's often the hardest, and people just don't. I don't know why, but they just sit on the fence and yeah, don't actually take the jump.
It's a good question. I think there's a few ways to answer that. Firstly, it's just actually planning, sitting down and thinking, okay, thing I'm doing at the moment, where's it going to get me? Okay, what's the end goal? I sat down, and one thing I heard from Alex Hormozy, which is pretty good piece of advice, is if you're pretty much seeing if your vehicle's going to get you where you want, look at someone who's 10, 15 years ahead and think, would I swap positions? I did that, and I just realized, no, definitely not. And
Yeah,
then the second thing is just taking that jump. And I think the hardest part in this online space in doing anything is it's not actually doing it. Of course, it's not easy, but it's taking that jump. Do you know what I mean? I deal with 8 to 10 people a day who have fear in taking that jump, and it's coaching them out of that. Do you know what I mean? That's the hardest part.
yeah, and that's why I think it's so interesting as well. Like someone like you that's actually invested in themselves, like they understand now, like with prospects. Bit of a tangent here, but like with prospects, you understand kind of the journey they're going through in their own head, and to making a decision to join something of like what you're selling. It's like it's an interesting one because you can
Yeah,
really have like empathy with them on that.
100%. And that's why it's a lot easier because I've been in that position. I say it all the time. Look, I've been in your position, been on the other end of this call, and I was just held accountable. Do you know what I mean? So I'm in a position where I have confidence that if someone jumps on board, that I know that they're going to get similar results to me if they put in the work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. And half of it is work. Like that's really what it comes down to. Like you can have the perfect roadmap, the best coach, the best trainer in the world, but if you don't do any of the work, like you're not going to get the results. And I think one thing for you, and the reason like you have been able to have success with it, is the work ethic. I would love to just like in a bit more detail, sort of go through. Obviously, you decided to join Club Closer. You got started with it. What was the roadmap there of like when you started to where you are now? Like if you could just run through the process. You don't have to share like exactly who you work with or anything.
Yeah,
Obviously, you do work for Club Closer part time, but your other offers that you don't have to mention them if you don't want to. But
sweet.
just like an
So
overview for guys to get an
in
understanding.
in terms of that, I think a lot of people think, okay, I need to do hours and hours and hours of work a day. I didn't do loads of hours. I started with a full-time job, a couple hours a day. So I think the reason why I got success is because I was consistent. A lot of people, they get bogged down like, I don't know, month one or month two. I didn't do loads. I was just consistent. A couple hours a day, practicing every day, learning every day. So I joined the program, started to network with loads of guys, people making more than me in better situations than me, just sapped so much information. It was pretty much a sponge. And then 3 weeks in, landed my first role. Learned a lot from that, I'll be honest.
Yeah, your first
When,
role is never like the best, right? I
yeah,
feel like that's a
100%.
common trait. It's like you just
But
want to get your teeth into something and then you kind of
yeah, but it's a
build from
blessing.
there.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're probably not ready for the ideal role. Do you know what I mean? You want to actually get into a role where you can practice it, see what it feels like on a call with prospects, and then get ready for the next level. Do you know what I mean? So went through that.
Do you mind
Some
sharing like what your first role was selling or what the offer was like?
So it was a short form marketing agency, pretty much selling short form content to real estate agents.
So B2C mostly, right?
Yeah, B2C. So I was pretty much dealing with the leads weren't the warmest. I was just dealing with around eight prospects a day, not really getting many results, but I guess I was just pretty determined to persevere through it and get better. Do you know what I mean? I think most of sales is just wanting to get better, wanting to just one up yourself.
Yeah,
In
for
terms
sure.
of in terms of after that, left that role, got presented with pretty good offer. One of the biggest offers in the space, a guy called Bastian Slot. Been working there for a few months now, and working with Bastian, learning a lot, being held accountable, and yeah, just my situation's just completely changed.
And like, what do you think was the reason you actually got that offer with Bastion? Because I know a bunch of guys that have applied to work with him before, a bunch of guys that has worked with him and haven't necessarily been able to kind of like keep a role like that or like do a good as a job as you have like and be arrogant here. Why do you think you've been able to kill it with him?
It's a good question. A lot of people ask me this. A few ways I can answer this again. I think the first thing is standing out. Look, like there's loads of people in every industry. There's going to be loads of people in the high ticket space, but actually standing out and proving that okay, I'm different. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to do more than everyone else. It just makes you stand out, even if you don't have the best skills. Do you know what I mean? So standing out, just proving myself, being persistent. A big aspect that's helped me in actually finding a good role is follow up. Do you know what I mean? Being persistent with the actual employers. Because look, if you're going to be a sales rep or get into the sales game, they want to know that you can follow up and be persistent. That's one of
You
them.
need to show characteristics that they want to hire
100%.
when you're trying to get hired.
100%. And
Like,
you may
that's
think it's
literally what it comes
annoying.
down to.
Yeah, you may think it's annoying, but look, people buzz off that. Employers buzz off that. Another one is it's just showing your personality, not being scared to, you know your worth and show your worth. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people are too quick to say, oh, like, I'm not that good, but own it. You may not be that good, but you've got traits that they're going to value. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, framing. That's what it comes down to. The amount of guys that I hear go for jobs and are like, I don't have any experience, but it's like immediately you're framing yourself as like the guy they don't want. You need to frame
100%.
yourself as like someone that they do want and show qualities that they do, want to hire.
Yeah. It's like a pity
It's-
story. It's like no one's going to hire you out of pity. It's like
yeah, exactly.
show you the guy. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's the first sale you're going to make, right? The first sale is going to be
100%.
yourself. And if you can't sell yourself to a business owner, how can they expect you to actually sell for them to their, their leads and their prospects?
Yeah, 100%.
100%, 100%. So like, what have you been able to achieve with it now? Obviously May, I'm trying to think how long ago May was. One, two,
So
three, four,
it was
four,
pretty much
five.
June, end of May.
Yeah, so 4 or 5 months, obviously doing door to door. What are you pushing now?
Yeah, so my old salary was about 1,700 after tax, which used to excite me, but nowadays doesn't really. Last month did about 5k. This month on track to do about 9.4k, and
Sick.
it slightly just snowballs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because you've only been on this offer for, it's like your second month, no?
This is like the start of my third month.
This is the start of your third month, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously like you're working for Club Closer part-time too, which is really cool. Like love having you on the team. Um, but yeah, obviously first and foremost you were a student, which I think's sick, and it's cool that now you're working within the company because obviously you like what we sell, you believe in what we sell.
Yeah, and look,
Um,
that's a big part of it. If I was sitting on calls and I didn't get success, you'd be able to smell it. Do you know what I mean? You'll be able to see it in my face. But me having success and being in that same position as people who jump on the call, I can just sit there with full confidence, leaning back in my chair and just realizing, look, I've been here. If you do this, you can as well. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, 100%. And it's interesting because we now get like a bunch more sales guys coming through that want to kind of branch out in the high ticket closing space. It's getting bigger. Like the industry as a whole is getting bigger. Obviously, more guys are getting switched on to the idea of like, actually, I can make money here. I can do well and can do better on my door-to-door job, my cold calling job, whatever. But also the industry is getting bigger. Like more people are coming into the online business space. The online, online education is growing massively. And that's just a fact. Like you can look at the numbers. So like what kind of advice would you say to someone like that someone was in your position that, is in your position now? Sorry, I've missed my words up there. That is in the same position you were 4 months ago working a door to door and is looking in at something like this. Like what kind of steps would you recommend they take in order to get started?
Yeah. But I'll be honest, it's all a mindset game. You could be absolutely terrible at sales and you can still get that 10k month, that 20k month. All about the mindset. So coming with an open mind, thinking, okay, despite me having sales experience, I'm still gonna have to learn, open my mind, be a sponge and just present yourself to everything. Be a yes man. Do you know what I mean? Don't be like, oh no, gotta go out with the boys. I don't wanna learn. Just go all in. I swear to God, if you're consistent, you go all in for a few bumps, you'll have a life that you've never even expected is possible.
Do you think you knew you were going to achieve what you've achieved when you first set out on
Um,
this journey?
I'll be honest, yeah, because I had that mindset. I knew I was going to win. Anything I go into, I know I'm going to win. Do you know what I mean? It all comes down to belief. And look, you're not always going to have the belief. It's something you got to train yourself to do because, like, going through the 9 to 5 world, you know, high school education, whatever, they program you to, think in a box. So, look, think if you want to get into an above average life, you've got to make above average decisions, think above average, think different to the masses. So, just know that if you put your mind to something, it's going to get done.
That's exactly it. And that's why mindset is such an important part. And I think that's probably one of the questions I have here is like the biggest lesson you've learned. The biggest learning, like, what would you say that is? I know that you've kind of already answered that, but if you could summarize it.
Biggest lesson, just don't think too small. Because look, like, people think it's so far away, then it happens, then they're like, okay, what's the next step?
That's
Do you know what I mean?
exactly what you're doing now.
100%. And
I
it's
can
mind
see it.
blowing. Yeah, 100%. I used to think, it's going to be years until I make my first 100 grand. It's like now I'm thinking, okay, when's the next 20k month? Do
100
you know
grand
what I
isn't
mean?
even that much. When am I going to make the first mil, the first 2 mil?
100%. It's all
10?
perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. So I guess like this is where you're at now. You've only been in the space like less than 6 months. What goals are you kind of taking away from here? Like what, whether that be with closing, like what do you want to achieve,
Yeah.
let's say 6 months time from here. And then
Yeah.
obviously like longer term, like what are you hoping to do with it? Because I think sales is such a critical skill in like business, and you are now in a perfect position to do kind of anything you want within business. Even if you take it back offline and you go door knocking again, I guarantee you probably close more deals.
Trust me, $10 in a row. Um, in terms of the near future, 6 months, 6 to 12 months, 6 months, first 20K month, 100%. 12 months, set on starting my sales agency. Pretty much going into businesses, presenting them with a sales team, sales funnels, complete A to Z, just optimizing the sales, if that makes sense. But look, like sales is the springboard to get into what you want to get into, but it's not the be all and end all. I'm not going to be a closer. I'm not going to work with businesses, help them with the sales for forever. Like what I'm doing, I see all the back end of all the businesses I work in, how to run them, all the systems. So it's only a certain amount of time until I actually implement it myself. Do you know what I mean?
I actually love that you bring that up as well, because I think like you summarized it perfectly. Sales is the perfect springboard. Like I know people that join Club Closer or people that are closing, they're not going to be closers forever. They want to go and do bigger things. They want to go and start their own businesses. But by doing this first, they set themselves up for the perfect position to pivot. You've now got the best foundation, the widest, the strongest foundation to then go and do that, as opposed to comparing it to the guy that's going to go start his agency with no sales experience, no business experience, and just jumps in the deep end and expects to land clients, get client results, and continue to scale. You're setting yourself up for longevity here, which isn't always the most exciting thing, but it pays dividends.
Yeah, 100%. What's the alternative? Staying in door to door role, just knocking on doors until I'm like 50 odd. Do you know what I mean?
But I think those door to door, like that door to door experience, you've got to set you up pretty perfectly.
I wouldn't take a second back of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it made me who I am today. I think it's all meant to be. Do you know what I mean? It's all stages of life. Like you're not supposed to get to Z in like a second. Do you know what I mean? It's all shaping you. At the end of the day, I'm 21. I've got so much more of my life. It was only just a period.
100%, man, 100%. Well, look, I appreciate you taking the time, jumping on. I know you've got a busy schedule of calls. But I guess last thing for you, like, did you want to plug anything? Did you want to promote, like, I don't know, your Instagram or your Twitter or whatever?
Yeah, so Instagram, Tom Hyder underscore. You can see all my Twitter, all my LinkedIn, anything like that in my bio. If you want to jump on a call, maybe give you some advice on sales, where you're at the moment, bridging the gap between corporate and online high ticket sales, and drop me a message.
Sweet. What I'll do is I can link that in the description. And obviously, Tom does close for Club Closer. We want to make sure we get guys that we know we can help first and foremost. But I will leave Tom's direct booking link if you wanted to speak about joining the program, his experience, or if you wanted just to reach out to Tom and chat in a more general sense. Like I'm sure he's open to it. If not, he just won't reply. But yeah, thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Take care.
Have a good one.
How do I stop this?